Today we're going to talk about something horrifying. Now I know what you're saying to yourself. Nick, it's not even October yet. It's too early for spooks and scares. To which I would reply, why the hell are you calling them spooks and scares? Are you a fucking toddler? Jesus Christ. Anyway, today we are going to be talking about something terrifying enough to be a Halloween special, truly. That is, of course, the video game Skyrim. Skyrim, as I'm sure you're aware, is a massively popular video game, and for good reason. To say it's not groundbreaking is just a flat-out lie. But I do have some frustrations with the game, and since I'm what you might call a Skyrim late bloomer, the game came out in 2011, and I just played it for the first time a couple of months ago in 2021 on my Nintendo Switch. I think I can offer a unique perspective, unhindered by rose-tinted goggles. As I mentioned before, the game is groundbreaking for a game that came out in 2011. Nowadays, its major accomplishments are pretty standard, but back in the day when this thing came out, it must have been just absolutely crazy. For starters, you can do whatever you want, pretty much from the start, and I really mean whatever you want. You can follow the main story, or go on side quests, or you can just mess around with the massive overworld. The amount of content in this game is just insane. Pretty much any one of the hundreds, maybe even thousands of NPCs you can interact with will send you on unique and original quests. And it's not like Breath of the Wild side quests, where they mostly just involve you catching 5 tree frogs to give a young town boy for 5 rupees. No, here the quests are all different, and usually reward you with interesting items. And even if they don't, they're always so fun and different from one another that, even if the reward sucks, you're still kinda glad you did it. The freedom at times can be almost overwhelming, and the rich lore of the game always makes playing a treat. You'll always have tons of different options to choose from when trying to find solutions to various problems, as well as taking various different story paths on both side and main quests, as well as even your character in the beginning and what skills you wish to develop. The amount of choice in this game is really insane. With a game this big, you'd think one might get so overwhelmed that you get bogged down to the point where you just can't do anything from pure overload, but that's not the case. The game's addictive nature makes it so that you always want to come back for more and more. Although pretty basic, the game's combat system is very fun to play around with, and fighting all sorts of enemies is always a blast. So now that I've sung the game's praises a little bit, let's get into the real burning question I've been wanting to answer the whole video. Does it hold up? No! Okay, yeah, this game just doesn't hold up very well. And it's a really big shame, because by the end, I found myself really wishing I could have been a bigger fan than I was. It's not bad per se, but it's only 10 years old and can't hold a candle to something like Ocarina of Time, which is approaching 25 years old soon. For a game that's supposed to be one of the best games of all time, Skyrim just doesn't quite do it for me. Maybe it's just because I didn't play the game as a kid when it came out, so I don't have all the fond memories most people have of it, but as I was playing through Skyrim, I just found myself liking it less and less. To start, the main campaign is abysmally short. As I played Skyrim, I got sucked into all of the side quests, and didn't put my full attention to the main quest. In fact, for the majority of my playthrough, I neglected the main quests pretty heavily, only doing a quest here and a quest there when I wanted a break from whatever else I was doing. Finally, around the time you capture the dragon for the quest, The Fallen, I decided, you know what, this is getting pretty interesting. I think I'll play the main quest for a little while. And then I got sucked in. A few quests later, you fight Alduin, the dragon, and then it's over. You're done. There's nothing more to do. I remember when I finally beat Alduin, I kept looking at my quest log, thinking I must have missed something, or that I forgot to talk to a specific person or something. I felt like there's no way the main quest could already be over. It didn't even feel like a satisfactory ending. It felt like things were just starting to ramp up, and there could have been hours and hours left. But of course, it was over. I didn't miss anything, it was just done. What felt like not even 1/3 of a main playthrough, the game was already done. Sure, I could have done more side quests, and I did finish up a few I'd been working on after finishing the main quest, but it just didn't feel the same. The side quests are fun and all, but I was so bummed out that the entirety of the main quest was maybe 7 hours at most, that I lost motivation to really initiate any more side quests. I'd been sucked into the game deeply before this point, but when the game ended so quickly, it just felt like it didn't matter that much anymore. I understand why the main story was so short, was how much other content's in this game, but that combined with my other big issue here is why I kinda lost interest in the game. That other big issue I mentioned half a sentence ago is, of course, take a guess. Come on now, it's pretty obvious. Get ready for it. Okay, you figure it out yet? All the fucking glitches in this game. My god, it's riddled with them. Ranging from small to game breaking. There's so many that there's entire website pages dedicated to them. We're talking hundreds, if not thousands of possible glitches, maybe even more. and some of them aren't even documented. During my rather short playthrough, where I played less than 60 hours I think, I encountered several glitches I couldn't even find reference to online. It made me wonder if there were just so many possible glitches that maybe I discovered some new ones, or the more likely, that they were just easy enough to get around that nobody bothered even talking about them yet. Well, guess what? I'm not going to either, because I played this game months ago when I found these, and I can't even remember what they were anymore, just that they were a huge pain in the ass. On a serious note though, how on earth did they think this was acceptable? In what world did the developers think that this game is finished and ready to be shipped? If I may borrow a line from another famous YouTuber for just a moment, what were they thinking? Seriously, what the fuck? I know I just stole a line from the angry video game nerd there, but this game legitimately pissed me off in that kind of way. I felt myself transform into a rage while playing this game, rarely seen among mortals. Sure, some of the glitches you can get around. They have easy fixes with just a little bit of googling, or they're just cosmetic. But some are game-breaking and impossible to fix to the point that you have to load up an old save file and redo everything up to that point just so that hopefully you don't do the same thing you did the first time that set off the glitch in the first place. Many of the glitches don't even have known causes, so it's impossible to tell what you did or at what point you did to cause the glitch in the first place. Some of the known causes are so specific that a random player such as myself would never in a million years have guessed that touching George's beard and talking to Franklin at 2 p.m. would cause all the enemies to become invincible. I know that's just a made up example, but it's really not that far off from some of the causes of them. And like I mentioned earlier, if you can't fix the glitch, you just have to reload the save file. But if you only do quick saves and do normal saves only when ending a game session for the day, which is what I started out doing before I quickly learned my lesson, you could lose hours worth of progress. And once again, even if you reload a save relatively close to where you left off, you still have to guess if it's far back enough that you haven't already set the glitch in motion. And then, on top of that, you have to get lucky and not perform whatever action caused the glitch to occur in the first place. Luckily, when I played through, luck was with me. The glitches I can only assume I'd done something to set off dozens or more hours ago in playtime always had a way around them. So I was able to finish the game, but my god was this frustrating. As I played through the game, glitches only became more and more frequent too. When I began, I didn't encounter my first major glitch until about 12 hours in. At that time, I was playing through the Dawn Guard questline and had gotten trapped in a cave by an immovable iron bar blocking the exit with Serena and all the enemies trapped on the other side. At first I figured there must be some puzzle I'm supposed to solve until about 40 minutes of trying in vain later, I decided, fuck it, I'm gonna cheat, and looked up how to get out of the cave. That's when I realized I was trapped in the cave by a glitch. Luckily, it was a relatively easy one to get out of. All I had to do was glitch through the wall, doing some loosely specified movements, and I'd be back on track. But that was only the beginning of what the game had in store for me. As I played on though, glitches became more and more frequent, to the point that, by the end, every single side quest or main quest that I attempted, I ran into some kind of glitch that I either had to Google research my way out of or admit defeat and start all over from various different spots. This got to the point where it was so infuriating that the glitches on top of the insanely short main quest just made me feel sick of the game way earlier than I would have been otherwise. And it's a damn shame too, because had the main story been longer and the game not riddled with glitches, I think I would have enjoyed it a lot more. Now I don't really think I'll be playing this game except maybe for live streaming on my TikTok account or something, but I won't be playing it again for my own enjoyment. You know, for myself, which is what the game's for. I get that with a huge game like this, it can be difficult to always iron out all the glitches, but I mean, come on, they've been releasing this game on every console for the past 10 years. I played my copy on the Nintendo Switch for crying out loud. They've had over 10 years to fix this game up, and from what I can tell, they've done absolutely nothing to patch any of these issues. It's just completely unacceptable. And you can't tell me it's impossible to do either, because much larger games are now and have been for years released on a regular basis with little to no issues, and the ones that do have glitches aren't even close to as bad as with this game. Not even 10% as bad. And the developers had over 10 years to fix these problems. So I'm of the mind they just don't give a shit since it sells well anyway. They probably don't see any need to fix them. Maybe in another world, this really could have been one of the best games of all time. But for me personally, while I did really genuinely enjoy playing parts of this game, the fact that it definitely needed at least another year in development, and the developers haven't patched anything at all, not even close to the top 100 games of all time. For me personally.